Hi everyone, this is Veronica. Today we are going to talk about M-sand. Like what is M-sand? That is manufactured sand. Okay, so what are its uses, how it is different from the natural sand, what are its benefits and significance, right? We'll discuss all of that in detail. So what is the relevance of this topic in your exam? See, in your mains paper 3, conservation and environmental pollution and degradation, it could be asked there. At objective level, you should know about the manufactured sand. At subjective level, you should know M sand as an alternative to conventional sand, that is your natural sand. Even this is natural, but this is made by crushing the granite rock, hard rock. So we'll discuss that. So in what context today we are talking about this? See, in 3 months, the Tamil Nadu state government will put in place an M-sand policy that aims to promote the use of M-sand as an alternative building material. So already we have conventional sand and this M-sand can be used as alternative building material. So it is aimed to eliminate the pervasion of substandard products. So there are some reports which suggest that the substandard products are used in the building of material. So they want to eliminate those in the market through regulation of the trade. Now talking about M-sand, this manufactured sand is basically a substitute of river sand that is found naturally for concrete construction. Which construction? Concrete construction. Now manufactured sand is produced from hard granite stone by crushing. So this is written here. The crushed sand is of cubical shape with grounded edges. It has grounded edges. It is washed and it is graded to as a construction material. And the size of this M sand is less than 4.75 mm. Now the question is why we want to use M-sand. Why use M-sand? See, manufactured sand is an alternative to the river sand, as I told you. Now due to fast growing construction industry, the demand for sand has increased tremendously, causing deficiency of suitable river sand in most part of the world. So river sand is being exploited by the people because this construction industry is increasing day by day, and due to depletion of good quality river sand for the use of construction, the use of manufactured sand has been increased. Now another reason for use of M sand is availability and transportation cost also, because when we use the conventional sand, it is available somewhere at one place and then you have to transport the material to another place. So this will, M sand and its availability could reduce the transportation cost and availability cost also. Since manufactured sand can be crushed from hard granite rocks, it can be readily available at the nearby place, so it will reduce the transportation from far off river sand bed. Now the cost of construction can be controlled by the use of manufactured sand as an alternative material for construction. And the other advantage of using M sand is that it can be dust free. So this is very important, that it is dust free. The sizes of M sand can be controlled also. It can be controlled very easily so that it meets the required grading for the given construction. Now usage of M sand, it actually prevents dredging of river beds to get river sand, which may lead to environmental disaster. Like what kind of environmental disasters can take place if we exploit the conventional river sand? Like the groundwater depletion, water scarcity. Already we are facing water crisis at global level, and in fact India is very stressed country when it comes to water. So definitely if we will exploit the river sand, it will lead to severe conditions of groundwater depletion and water scarcity. Now see, the UNEP has released a report. They have released this report, Sand and Sustainability, Finding New Solutions for Environmental Governance of Global Sand Resources. Now this report, it highlights the problem that has largely stayed under radar, because usually we don't pay attention to such problem of sand consumption globally, which has been increasing, and we are actually extracting it at the rates which is exceeding the natural replenishment rate. So the way the extraction rate is so high that we are not giving it time to replenish. So basically here we are talking about sand mining. Now see, sand and gravel are the second largest natural resources extracted and traded by volume after water, but among the least regulated. So they're the most used natural resources, exploited natural resources, but they are the least regulated also. Sand, as you know, it is created by slow geological processes, and its distribution along the in the whole country is not even. Now if we talk about desert sand, because usually we think there is so much sand, desert sand, we can use that, but desert sand, although it is available in plenty, it is not suited for the construction use because it is wind smooth and therefore non-adherent. While 85 to 90% of global sand demand is met from quarries and sand and gravel pits, but the 10 to 15% is extracted from the rivers and seas, which is actually causing the environmental problems and is a severe concern due to its environmental impacts and the social impacts. Now see, aggregates. So what are known as aggregates? It includes your crushed rock, sand and gravel, which is needed during construction. So these are the construction materials. So these aggregates are necessary for building the infrastructure the world needs, and especially the developing countries, because they are still developing. So they are bringing their population out of poverty. Now quoting various studies, there's one report which estimates that a 40 to 50 billion ton of crushed rock, sand and gravel is extracted from quarries, pits, rivers, coastlines and marine environment each year. So the construction industry consumes over half of this and will consume even more in the futures. So there are definitely lots of hazards regarding this. So if we talk about hazards of excessive mining, now see, their extraction often results in river and coastal erosion, which is very dangerous for the environment, and there are threats to freshwater and marine fisheries and the aquatic ecosystem. There will be instability of river banks, which will lead to increased flooding and lowering of groundwater levels. The report that I am talking about, it also says that the China and India head the list of critical hotspots of sand extraction impacts, mainly on the rivers, lakes and coastlines. Now most large rivers of the world have lost between half and 95% of their natural sand, and this is very much alarming. Then another problem is damming of rivers for hydroelectricity production or irrigation, which is reducing the amount of sediment flowing downstream also. Now this broken replenishment system, it exacerbates pressures on beaches already which are threatened by sea level rise and intensity of storm waves, which are actually induced by climatic change as well as the coastal developments. Now there are also indirect consequences. So all this while we are talking, these are the direct consequences, but with time we will see some indirect consequences also, like there will be loss of livelihoods. An ironic example is that the construction in tourist destinations, it can lead to depletion of natural sand in the area, thereby making those very places very unattractive, and safety risks for workers where the industry is not regulated. So there are direct effects of the sand, overexploitation of sand, and there are indirect impacts also. Now if we talk about the China, okay, before talking about way forward, specifically if we talk about China and India, which are actually leading in global infrastructure, China increased its concrete use by 540% in the last 20 years, which is exceeding the use of all the other countries combined. And even as domestic consumption rates begin to stabilize, China oversees investment in infrastructure development through its initiative, that is Belt and Road Initiative BRI. It will drive demand for aggregates in approximately 70 countries. Furthermore, domestic demand in India is expected to drive strong future in growth in Asia. So India leads in reusing. So here if we talk about the alternative substitute materials, there are several from India, including oil, what we can use as alternative, oil, palm, shells. Another alternative use could be waste foundry sand. Then crushed tiles can be used. Granite powder can be used. Then we can use the mine waste, which we usually throw away. We can use bottom ash for construction. We can use even discarded rubber, right? So talking about way forward, see, we can suggest better spatial planning and reducing unnecessary construction, which includes speculative projects or those being done mainly for prestige, thereby making more efficient use of these aggregates which are available. Then it calls for investing in infrastructure, maintenance and retrofitting rather than demolish and rebuild. Because what happens if we want to build a new house, if we have made a single story house, we demolish it completely and build a new story. But what we are suggesting here, that the maintenance and retrofitting is the better option rather than demolishing and rebuilding cycle, embracing alternative design and construction methods. Then we can conclude with a call for large scale multi-pronged actions from global to local levels, because it just not depends upon the government or some particular organization. So it is a multi-pronged actions. We need multi-stakeholders from the global to local levels, which can include your public, private and civil society organizations. And in the end, this will mean building consensus, defining what actually success looks like, and here we can reconcile with the policies and standards with the sand availability, development imperatives and standards and enforcement reality. And now if somebody asks you this question, like what are the characteristics of this M-sand, you can talk about why we can use M-sand. Because see, here we discussed about the problems with the conventional sand and its exploitation and sand mining. So yes, M-sand is a very good alternative, and it has good characteristics also because it has higher strength of concrete. So the manufactured sand has required gradation of fines, physical properties such as shape, smooth surface textures, etc. Then it has durability also, durability of concrete. Then workability of concrete is also there, and there are less construction defects when we build the buildings with M-sand. So like that, and plus this is eco-friendly because usage of manufactured sand prevents dredging of riverbeds to get river sand, which may lead to environmental disaster like groundwater depletion, water scarcity, threat to safety of bridges, dams, to make M-sands more eco-friendly than river sand. So this is all about today's lecture. Thank you. If you have any queries, you can contact me. So this is a channel StudyIQ. If you're preparing for UPSC or any government exam, our pen drive and tablet courses are available. If you're preparing for UPSC CSE 2020, our pen drive course is available, where you can find 100% coverage of UPSC vast syllabus. Daily current affair updates will be available. Self-paced learning process is provided. This course has been prepared by top faculties of StudyIQ, and now you can purchase this course at ₹625 per month only. For additional information, you can visit our site, and there are the phone numbers also given. You can call them and gain the additional information. You can connect with me for my video updates on Instagram and Facebook, because I feel together we can make a huge difference. For queries, you can even email me. Thank you so much.